Part 3. I don't know why my finger just did that, but part 3 in the overcoming loss. Life goes on. What do you mean life goes on, Curtis? What I mean is this. Just because things happen in your life does not mean that the outside world is going to stop for you. Now, it may feel like, well, that's cold. It's a cold world, my brother, sister, whoever's watching. It's a cold world out there. But it's all a matter of perspective. Is it cold, or is it the fact that people have their lives to live as well? Now, when you're going through your loss, one of the things that creates stories in our mind is when we look around and we don't see anybody engaging us or even asking about what we're going through. We look at that and we say, man, people are selfish and people just don't care. And we create these stories that make us act a certain way towards people. And then we look like the assholes in the end. So what I want to tell you today, and your next step in overcoming a loss, is realize that life goes on. And everybody that you come in contact with doesn't need to know your situation. Everybody you come in contact with doesn't need to know why you're down, man. Well, because this and this happened and this. Because after a while, you're telling the same story over and over again. And every time that you tell the story, do you notice that you're replaying it in your mind? You're replaying it in your heart. You're reliving it and you're reliving it. And at this point, you're spending 90% of the time on the problem and only 10% of the time on the solution. And I don't know about your percentages and how you get things done. That ain't gonna get it done. So realize that life goes on. It's cold, it may sound cold, but then at the same time, it doesn't have to be cold. I look at it like people got things that they're dealing with that I could never even fathom. People are going through things that I have never had to experience, and they may look like everything is good, but mentally or physically, they're dealing with something. You ever heard of having a sciatic nerve pain? Have you ever? It's almost like walking around and your foot is asleep at all times. Can you imagine the stress? I've never dealt with it. I've had my foot fall asleep when I sat on the toilet, but that's neither here nor there. I cannot imagine having my foot feel like it fell asleep all the damn time. Can you even imagine somebody who doesn't have a big toe? Do you realize that you cannot balance on a foot without a big toe? There's things that we just overlook all the time and realize, look, I got 10 fingers, I got 10 toes, 10 and a half, whatever. I got all my facilities. I can walk, I can talk, I can communicate with you. I have a platform to talk to. Things ain't bad. It ain't never bad. And like Les Brown says, no matter how bad it gets, no matter how bad it is, you're gonna be all right. And you're gonna keep winning. Realize that life goes on. Don't judge people. Don't treat people differently because they're not jumping in there and sulking with you. That's not their job. Their job is to take care of themselves and those around them. Make sure you take care of yourself as well. Once again, that's another, I have to whip this one way back. Another Curtspiration. Hey. Please subscribe to the channel if you need some more of this juice. Look, life goes on. No matter what, think as much as you can about the abundance of life and realize that people are not taking anything away from you by not focusing on you, okay? Look at it and say, you know what? They got to live their life too. Life goes on. Life goes on for me, and it will eventually get better. In this life, you will not be full life until you decide to live life to its coolest. I like that too. So you decide to live life to its fullest. Curtis King at CurtisKingBeats.com.
I can't listen to you. When I listen to you, it's a liability. Cause you be mentally killing my inner energy. So I'm concealing my feelings before you injure me.